Why'd they have to do Luke like that? Rian Johnson. Throw him in a sarlacc pit. Or just throw him down that chasm in the Emperor's throne room, screaming all the way, dollar bills flying out of his pockets. Astral projection is what kills Luke Skywalker? Have you read a book? Legacy of the Force? Fate of the Jedi? New Jedi Order? Ever heard of him, Mr. Johnson? You heretical sadist? Do you have brain damage, or do you just exist to destroy? Oh, man, it was getting hotter than the fires of Mustafar in that robe. Felt like I was cooking next to a lava river. Astral projection doesn't even come close to Luke's power ceiling. That is, frankly, insulting. Luke could use the Force to fold space and teleport objects light years away. During the Battle of Dantooine, Luke was able to use the Force to manipulate a miniature black hole that he used to destroy the entire enemy fleet. There's a lot of discrepancies over the semantics, and people argue about it online and forums, but it's essentially what happened. Shut up. Originally, after Episode 6, the Emperor resurrects himself, and then Luke joins him, trying to destroy the Sith from the inside. And then eventually, Luke kills the Emperor in a lightsaber duel. And he's the only Jedi to ever best the Emperor. Yoda couldn't do it, Mace Windu couldn't do it, and those three other knuckleheads that Darth Sidious killed in like 3 seconds inside of his office couldn't do it. You know, Kit Fisto, Agent Kolar, and Sazy Tin. Yeah, because I know that Luke's X-Wing was once without power, and he just flew it using the Force. But we didn't get to see that, or this, or this, or any of this. We're not talking about this or this. We're talking about that.
I'm gonna kill myself!
Rian Johnson gave us a castrated waif in place of a Titan. The multifaceted, elite, commanding demigod of a Grand Jedi Master that Luke became, who was written about and built upon with tender care and great detail by genius authors and award-winning novels and comic books, spanning from the early 80s right up until the early 2000s when Disney acquired Star Wars and scrapped all of the prior literature. Nope, doesn't exist. It's double fiction now. It's fiction inside of fiction. It's Star Wars Legends. It never happened. Like falling in love with a woman and spending every day of your life together for 30 years, and then one day you find out she's a cyborg and she works for Disney and she never loved you. The Luke that by and large successfully pioneered the new Jedi Order, trained countless Jedi as well as his own sister into becoming a Jedi Master, all the while essentially being a self-taught Force user, that Luke, the Luke we've always had, that idea,
It does not exist.
And I know that ultimately my anger lies with Disney for making years and years worth of brilliant Star Wars literature completely obsolete. Rian Johnson probably hasn't read a good Star Wars book, and technically, he didn't need to. Fine. I can't blame Rian Johnson for going in his own direction. My problem is that this movie was written in spite of what Star Wars has always stood for. It's an act of artistic terrorism. It scathingly celebrates the chaotic tarnishment of what OG fans have always held sacred and loved about Star Wars. The hot sting of the back of Rian Johnson's hand on my face will never go away. There's literally a scene where Yoda destroys the sacred text with a bolt of lightning and then talks about how they were. Could you be any more ham-fisted with the imagery? Are you trying to say something, Rian Johnson? It's almost like Luke discarding his lightsaber over his shoulder wasn't enough for you. But that's what makes it great, bro. It totally subverts your expectations and starts something completely new. If that sounds like you, first of all, buddy, starting over in itself isn't inherently a good thing. It's an especially bad thing to do if you're in the middle of a new trilogy. If you're gonna change the theme of a beloved American saga, first of all, don't. But if you do it in Episode 7, because as of right now, the only purpose that Episode 7 serves is to be undone by Episode 8. Personally, I think J.J. Abrams did a wonderful job with The Force Awakens, which is why I hate this movie so much. J.J. Abrams, without a doubt, actually honors the mythos and integrity of Luke Skywalker as a character. The Force Awakens ends powerfully and beautifully with great cinematography and a swelling score as Rey and Luke hold eye contact, and they both look like they're holding holding back tears. When The Last Jedi picks up, it's an entirely different vibe. They are obviously two different scenes. The two characters even look different. You don't mind if I wear this pristine Christ-like robe just for a cheap joke? You mind if I change into a potato sack for the rest of the film? Luke loses a stick fight in the rain with Rey after a brief and uninspired begrudging attempt to train her. And we learn that he tried to kill his nephew in his sleep because he had a hunch that he might be evil. Activates his lightsaber. Changes his mind when he's hovering over the kid about to do the deed. His thumb slipped. Luke Skywalker, the guy who used to force push AT-ATs over in the books, his finger slipped. His finger slipped, which happens to change the trajectory of the universe, dooming millions of people. You know, if you think about it, by the end of his life, Luke probably second-handedly killed more people than he saved. Whoops. Whoops. At the end of the movie, Luke stalls the First Order long enough so the remaining Resistance members can escape. But the thing is, Luke wasn't actually there, which is a good thing because Kylo could have killed him. And now he can be a huge asset to the Resistance in the next movie. Oh, he just dies anyways? Oh. After decades of not seeing Luke on screen and begging and pleading with directors to finally see the Force unleashed, we just want to see Luke go ham on his enemies. We just want to see our boy crumple somebody like a pop can with his mind. His life energy is depleted by the Force equivalent of Skype. The only thing fans like me can hope for at this point is a prequel starring Sebastian Stan that could truly do some justice to the character. But I'm not holding my breath. Mark Hamill gave a great performance with what he was given, but just like me and you, he knows that the character, as well as the fans, deserved so much more from the writers. Luke has always been my favorite character, which confuses a lot of people. It's just that naturally I related to him because he's an idealistic, bright-eyed whiner. He's also neutral enough of a personality to where you can project yourself onto him pretty easily. Live vicariously through this young boy on screen. His victories were my victories. So to carry a narrative in a universe this huge, you almost have to sink into the background as a character. And lastly, there is no Star Wars protagonist who is better dressed than Luke Skywalker in Return of the Jedi. The fluorescent green beam contrasted with the black tunic and the one black glove with the gold band on the hilt tying it all together. I don't understand why this couldn't have been the prototype for what Jedis wore instead of bathrobes. A lot of people think Mace Windu's lightsaber is the best looking lightsaber in the Star Wars universe. I wholeheartedly disagree. I was actually thinking about getting it tattooed on my arm until I watched this movie, and now I'm only probably gonna do it. The best looking lightsaber in the entire saga wasn't even used in this film for more than 2 seconds. It made a glorified cameo in the assassination scene. You deserve center stage, baby. You deserve your own spin-off film. The Last Jedi was made to vandalize the 8 other Star Wars movies, and he used Luke Skywalker as the bridge-burning, polarizing film. May God have mercy on his soul. Thank God I'm done talking about this. Ugh. This was yucky for all that negativity. I'm not really that angry. I hated that movie and I love Luke Skywalker, but it kind of blow everything out of proportion for YouTube. You might think I recorded this all in one sitting. I didn't. I recorded it in the span of like 5 days, and I've just been putting on this dirty ass pizza shirt over and over. That was my first video. I know, a nerd nitpicking pop culture on the internet. How groundbreaking. Anyways, if you enjoy drivel and useless information and over analysis, then you can give me a follow, I suppose. Here's my Snapchat and my Instagram. Star Wars, the last Star Wars movie that Rian Johnson will direct. God willing. Take care.